now on X 166, over 140 AM and FM affiliates, and the internet, of course, with the audio streams and the podcast and the listen section at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Now, I'm chomping at the bit here with so many points and angles. I'm going to give Pastor Williams the floor now for the balance of the hour. I'm going to give the number out, so in like the last two little short segments, 5 minutes in the next hour, we're going to have a few quick questions. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231 for quick questions for Pastor Williams, who I'm going to have on the show for a full hour next week to flesh this out more. Now, I know who his sources are. One is public now, who died of cancer over a year ago. The other, again, gives him this info because I guess they kind of want to have a remnant out there that knows what's going on, or it's guilt. I think that's basically what we've gotten from Lindsey. But it doesn't mean that it's all going to be 100% accurate. But it's been startlingly accurate on so many fronts. We're going to go back to him in a moment, and he has produced a new DVD breakdown. That's why he wouldn't come on the last month since he got this info. And you can get that at prophecyclub.com. We'll give you all the numbers and names and things before he leaves us, but it's right there on the front page. Now, speaking of products, we fund ourselves with the best books, the best videos, the best information, things that I think are really informative, we promote. And so when you buy an Infowars.com ball cap, you support the broadcast, and also wear your colors proud, and you will meet a lot of like-minded patriots wearing a ball cap or Infowars.com t-shirt. We have the new Strategic Relocation DVD film with Joel Scalzon. It doesn't mean run off to the hills. It's got maps of all the major cities, breakdowns of the safest escape routes in those areas. It's an amazing documentary. The film is available 2 hours, 40-something minutes at InfoWarsStore.com. Makes a great Christmas gift. Also for Christmas gifts, or in the holidays period, we have never had an offer like this until this year. We have the regular Christmas special where you can get 5.3 months off free. You know, you pay for a year, and instead of it being $5.95 a month, it goes down. And if you do the math, it basically means you buy 6.7 months and you get 5.3 months free. That's how much is off the price. We've had that for now. This is coming to our 10th year doing this. It's almost 10 years we've had PrisonPlanet.tv. Hard to believe. You can, though, this year, go create a username and passcode that you can share. Just a new username and passcode that's unique to the site. Takes about a minute to sign up, and 10 people can be logged on with that simultaneously. That's 10 memberships, or 59 cents a month per membership. You can't get a cup of coffee anywhere, 59 cents. Folks, that's an entire month for 59 cents. We've done the math. If everybody actually used it, we would go bankrupt with the bandwidth. But you give away 10, maybe half the people you give it to will actually watch it. My book, Paul Watson's book, all my films, HD, Nightly News, the live radio show, the video, archives, a bunch of other films, thousands and thousands of pieces of material, the commercial-free podcast, all of it up there, PrisonPlanet.tv or InfoWarsNews.com. And lastly, Lindsey, I'm just so excited today. I'm going to shut up, go through the 10 points, go through their agenda, go through the takeover of the churches, which I first heard you talk about years ago. Now everybody I know, no matter what type of church, Catholic, Protestant, Methodist, you name it, it's turn in your guns, world government's good, families are bad, sex changes are good. And I mean, this is a takeover through the faith-based initiative. So you've got the floor. Just roll with it. Go through it all. Pastor Lindsey Williams.
Alex, you requested that I give you an exclusive on this. This is the first show that I have ever given this information on. Now, I do 3 other shows later in the day today. This is the first show that anybody has ever heard this information. Now, Let me try to take them one at a time. I'll only be able to cover 2 or 3 of them. First of all, you heard me say a moment ago there's not going to be a collapse yet. Let me try to explain why. The elite, as they've explained it to me, have not created enough debt yet. They want such massive debt created that every country, every state, every city, every individual in the world is in such debt. Now, I want to give you an expression that you want to watch this happen. You won't hear this unless you know one of the elite. Forced debt creation. They are going to force debt on not only countries, not only on the United States of America, states and cities in this country, but watch. Let me try to give an example right here. You remember years ago, I got an American Express credit card back 30, 40 years ago. And American Express back then was nothing but a credit card company. Last year, American Express was forced into becoming a bank, no longer a credit card company at all. This is part of what I'm trying to explain to you, that the elite are going to force debt creation. They forced them to become a bank. Then they turned around on the QE1 and QE2, and they took over the banks basically for all practical purposes and made them so in debt because the amount of money that they gave them until they forced them into debt creation. Now watch what's happening to the students of America. You've heard a lot about this lately. They have the economy to the point that a person cannot afford to go to college and do it like I did it years ago. I worked my way through college, bagging groceries, working here and yon, every place I could. You can't do that anymore. They have convinced the students now that they must borrow money from the government and get student loans. This is the most dastardly thing you can imagine of. They've created in the minds of the students that they've got to have these loans, and it is done intentionally. They took it out of the hands of private individuals and institutions, and the government now is handling it. They want those students to be so in debt when they come out of college that they are under the total control of the government and eventually will be able to go into bankruptcy. And every bit of this is a part of the agenda of forced debt creation. Now, this physical cliff you're hearing about right now, it's the biggest bag of wind I think I've ever heard in my life. It is not what they are projecting it to be at all. This physical cliff, so miles. And it may not take place for the next 2 years. It may not take place for the next 3 years. It is going to happen within this 4-year period. But in order to bring in the New World Order the way that they want it, they have got to force. I hope you're catching this word. I didn't say debt creation. I said forced debt creation in order to be able to create the atmosphere that they want of your acceptance of the New World Order.
That's why they make you buy health care, even though it bankrupts you, to go into debt. They're going to make you do everything. If they can't make you go on welfare, they're going to make you go under their system one way or the other.
Middle class, please. Oh, goodness, folks, you've got to know what they have planned for you. The middle class. Now, all you've heard is about the rich. Tax the rich, tax the rich. Come on, give me a break. It is nothing but a smokescreen. They are going to tax the middle-class American into oblivion. Are you catching this? Now watch it. I don't know what kind of a tax they're going to put on you. But you won't mark my words. Before this physical cliff thing is over, you'll have in front of your eyes one of the most horrifying situations that you ever imagined in your life, because they are only getting your mind ready for a tax, a number of different taxes. Number one, you may have a marginal minimum tax. It's been suggested. You may have a national sales tax. You already have an Obamacare tax. You see, they couldn't say you've got to buy Obamacare, but they come along and say they're going to tax you to Obamacare, and then this is a part of the debt creation.
3-point tax on all investments, on pension funds, you name it. That begins the takeover of those. That's Washington Post today. That's the Republican proposal. And then that sees the conservative proposal. That's how they bait and switch people. I'm just backing up what you're saying here. They're eliminating 600 billion deductions, 160 billion tax increases, and all that money, most of that money goes to the mega in-banker bailout. And they're going to tax savings. They're going to tax everything. I mean, this is just amazing.
You don't pay any attention to this business about tax rich. It is a headline. You, class Americans, you have never seen anything. Now, all of this is for the purpose of and I heard you say a few months ago that I've already been given a formula as to when you can know that the dollar's going to collapse. And they're looking up to this point of that formula, which I'll give you in a few moments. I don't have time to give you. Let me go back to the middle class. You heard what Walmart did on yesterday. Number one retailer in the United States of America. In the Obamacare program, it says that if any person has under 30 hours of work per week, that they don't fall under the auspices of Walmart having to pay for Obamacare for them. You folks have killed yourself. You can't imagine how you should have rebelled against this. Do you realize that nothing but management personnel of Walmart are going to have jobs of 30 hours and more per week from this point on, and everybody else will be considered part-time help so that they don't have to pay for Obamacare? But that didn't happen by chance, people. Oh, my goodness, I wish I could get you to see it. This is happening by design, which I was told 3 weeks ago, my elite friend, when he told me 10 agendas that every American in this country will face, and when Walmart cuts down to 30 hours or less with all of those thousands and thousands of employees, do you realize that it is going to put every one of them into such massive debt that they are going to say, oh, government, please give us a food stamp, give us some welfare, give us a new currency, give us a new constitution. People, do you see what is happening to you, this massive...
They've doubled the food stamps from 25 million to close to 50 million in 4 years. This is the domestication, the sharecropper, owe your soul to the company store, total takeover. Get into that formula you were talking about.
Okay, here we go. Please, I hope you've got pencils and paper there. And you'll hear it explained in detail in my new DVD series. Here's the formula. You remember that when Bernanke announced that the Federal Reserve was going to purchase $40 billion per month of mortgage-backed securities. And, of course, I came out all over America and told people that what was going to happen, but then my elite friend gave me just the other day. And now I can see through it just as plain as day. What happened? As of every month, every single month that the Fed buys $40 billion worth of mortgage-backed securities, it automatically devalues the dollar between 3 and 4%. Did you catch this? Put it down on your paper. It automatically devalues the dollar by 3 to 4%. Now take 4% and start. Come on, use your calculator. Take that 4% and go every month of the year for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and then tell me how much money you've got left at the end of the week. Okay, you must put food on the table. You positively have to put gas in that gas tank. And then you're going to have to put clothes on the back of the children and food on the table. Now, at 4% devaluation of the dollar per month, how long is it going to take before the dollar has such a small purchasing power that you can no longer pay the house mortgage? And this is what they want. They don't want you to be able to pay that house mortgage, because the day you can't, the Federal Reserve, who has already bought that mortgage-backed security, is going to come in and repossess it. They are the elite who want to bring in the New World Order, and they will own every piece of real estate, mortgage real estate in the United States of America. Now add something onto that. Come on. Let's do some math here. 3 to 4% per month. Automatic devaluation so slow that you'll be like a frog boiling in the pot. You'll accept it. I hope you don't accept it. Number 2, add the new taxes onto that. You heard me say the middle class is going to be taxed into oblivion. You're going to see either a national sales tax, a marginal minimum tax. You're going to, Obamacare's already come in. Okay, add something else onto that. Add on Obamacare. You haven't had to pay that before. Okay, see what you've got so far. You've got 4% per month devaluation. You've got massive amounts of new tax that you...
4% Obamacare, then you got to buy the Obama. It just goes on and on. You're just adding it all up, yeah.
Yeah, now Obamacare comes in. That's going to be a new tax, and it is a tax. The Supreme Court declared it. Next, put down increased food prices. You've got to factor these things in. Then you take a 30-hour-only work week for everybody except the managing personnel of every Walmart, Target, every fast food restaurant in the country is going to cut back and have more employees with less than 30 hours of work week. And you add that in, the fact that you can't make 40 to 50 hours per week now without having 3 or 4 or 5 jobs. Then you've got the Fed's $40 billion per month that the Federal Reserve is going to buy mortgage-backed securities. You factor in every one of those things and add them up. Please, you've got to do it. You must. And at that point, you will know how long it will be before they have created such massive debt in your house that you cannot afford to make the house mortgage payment. And that is what they want.
It is total economic warfare. We are going into absolute bondage, and everything you're saying is right here in the Washington Post. They just released it today. The Republican plan, that's about half the taxes that Obama wants, is a devastating $960 billion middle-class tax increase. Elimination of deductions, $600 billion. $400 billion in spending cuts. And then it just goes on. Getting rid of all the deductions, 3.8% Obamacare tax, not counting having to buy the health care. I mean, this is going to devastate. You're going to see probably 20, 30, 40% more go on welfare now. This is it. They're going to totally collapse this, Lindsey. How long will it take? A couple of years?
Well, I had been given, and I'm so glad that you just brought up the welfare situation, because when a person only gets 30 hours per week, there's no way in this world that they can afford an apartment, no way they can afford a house, an automobile. They've cut back, and I was just given how many people... Come on.
Stay there. We're going to go there right now. Sodium fluoride in the body reduces IQ and increases cancers. Unfortunately, fluoride and its derivatives are only one of hundreds of toxins being added to our drinking water. We're battling the globalist on so many fronts. Health is an area where we can all take control of our lives, and it all